Hungary's controversial new law came into force earlier this month.
Kérem, szavazzanak!
It prohibits schools and the media from showing homosexuality or gender reassignment in any content or material that reaches minors under 18s and has provoked uproar across Europe. The EU has strongly condemned it as discriminatory and contravening European values of tolerance and the individual. But for the Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán, the law is about protecting children and protecting Christian values.
It's not about homosexuality, it's about the kids and the parents, that's all.
They still criticise it.
Yeah, but it's a Hungarian law.
So in response to the criticism, he's called a referendum. The law is similar to Russia's so-called gay propaganda law, which came into force in 2013. A law that's been described by Human Rights Watch as a classic example of political homophobia that has intensified stigma, harassment and violence against LGBT people in Russia. But the Hungarian law goes even further. It makes it an offence to promote or portray homosexuality or gender change for people under 18. The Orbán government insists it's simply an amendment to anti-paedophile legislation which seeks to protect children. But critics say he's conflating homosexuality and child abuse to the detriment of LGBTQ youth. So what is the likely outcome of a referendum? Well, that's unclear. But on the same-sex marriage issue, 46% of Hungarians are in favour, just 18% are against it. And over the weekend, thousands joined the annual Budapest Pride March to protest the law. But the law also has its supporters, with some asking if parents themselves do not understand trans issues or homosexuality, why should their children be taught about it? In power since 2010, Viktor Orbán has owed much of his electoral success to clashes with the European Union, positioning himself as the self-styled defender of Christian Europe. So as a tough national election next year creeps closer, could Orbán be using gender and sexuality as a deliberate attempt to split the opposition over a multifaceted piece of legislation? Well, a little earlier I spoke to Hungary's Secretary of State for Public Diplomacy and Relations, and I began by asking Zoltan Kovacs why his government had brought in a law that was never part of an election manifesto, only to hold a referendum on it after it was passed.
Well, I'm sorry to say that you are wrong, that it has never been part of the Hungarian government's program or policies, because if you take a closer look actually for the measures we've taken for the past 10 years, there's a very clear picture that child protection and family protection has always been in the center of this government's politics.
You've conflated paedophilia and homosexuality in this legislation, which is deeply, deeply offensive to many.
But, you know, you're trying to broadcast here an opinion as a fact, because most amazingly, it is only the international media and some LGBTQ groups actually which take a look at this initiative and the new measures as a threat. As a matter of fact, it's not a threat, it's just a reinforcement of those rights, those fundamental rights of families actually, that are guaranteed and sanctioned by international treaties and the Hungarian constitution.
The Ipsos Global poll showed 66% of your people support legal recognition for gay couples. 56% support gay couples' rights to adopt children. So why are you picking this fight with your own people?
And you well know that the wish or the opinion of Hungarians is observed by the Hungarian constitution and the reality on the ground, and that is same-sex couples enjoy the same rights under the Hungarian constitution as original families. And as a matter of fact, the only control actually we are taking is that under the constitution, marriage is the marriage of a man and a woman. This is in a rule of law.
Right. Well, you know that the EU Commission said it's incompatible with international human rights standards. You know that Mark Rutte of the Netherlands has told you to respect LGBTQ rights or leave the EU bloc. Von der Leyen said you are using the protection of children, which everyone, of course, wants, as an excuse to discriminate against people. She called it disgraceful.
Well, we've seen that political opinion being broadcasted, but the EU is coming into areas where it has no mandate. And I believe the treaty is very clear about competencies and the rights on behalf of the European institutions. We clearly know, and it's again said, and it's clearly written in the treaty, that school and parental issues do not belong to the European Union. We are very firm on that legal stand, and we are not going to let it happen, actually, that in a stealth mode, the European institutions are trying to take away legal aspects, legal elements, actually, of your constitutional system.
This is about child protection, but not in the way you think. You are creating a hostile environment for many young people growing up. 72% of LGBTQ Hungarians are nervous to show their feelings in public. You don't want to see LGBTQ Hungarians feel unsafe on their streets because of the law your government is introducing.
Well, the real numbers are going to be shown by the referendum. We have decided that the referendum would be the best tool here to providing for the Hungarians to express their true opinion. Nobody can question actually the results and the ratio of a referendum ahead of us.
Hungarian activists have told me they see it as Viktor Orbán up to his own electoral tricks. First you turn against the Roma, then you turn against the homeless, then the religious minorities, and now it's the turn of the gays. That it is, in essence, a desperate attempt to consolidate and cling on to power for a waning government.
Well, the terms and approach you're suggesting would suggest something that we have a trouble here exercising power, or we should be ashamed of the results of the past 10 years. But it's the other way around. We are proud of the results actually we have achieved for the past 10 years. Take a look at the economic results, employment levels, investment coming to the country. They are going to testify just the opposite what you're suggesting here. So if you talk about consolidation, we talk about going and coming together with the will of the Hungarian people, which proved to be a success for the past 10 years.
And if gay teens don't have access to supportive education, they don't become straight. You recognise that they are more likely to become isolated and vulnerable. Why would you promote that in your own country?
Everything is there to guarantee that all minors and all adults are going to have equal access to the services, the necessary education, and all the elements actually a rule of law is necessitating actually in a country. So don't be afraid, as it is no attack on anyone, but it's certainly reinforcing family rights. The parents' right actually to raise their children, educate their children, is not against anyone.
Zoltan Kovacs, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.